Galileo was an Italian physicist, mathematician, engineer, astronomer and philosopher who played a major role in the scientific revolution. His achievements included improvements on the telescope and astronomical observations such as the fact that the Earth orbits the Sun. He didn't actually prove that the Earth orbits the Sun. All he did was dismiss the idea that everything orbits the Earth. He showed the new planets around Jupiter, and he showed that Venus and Mercury orbit the Sun, therefore showing that not everything orbits Earth. To simplify, Galileo was a very smart astronomer.
Albert Einstein was a physicist who was born in Germany. Even though Albert Einstein was expelled, he discovered the fourth dimension, which is time. Also, he failed his first test to get into his university.
Dr. David Bohm was born in 1925 in Northern Territory, Australia. He is known for inventing the flight data recorder, or commonly known as the black box.
The black box is a bright orange recording device made out of metal and plastic and is located in the rear of the plane because it is the part of the plane that is most likely to survive a crash.
The black box is used to record every single conversation on the aircraft. This is useful if there is a crash, so investigators can figure out what went wrong.
The discovery of gunpowder.
Few substances in history have had such a profound effect on human history as gunpowder, and its discovery was an accident.
Ancient alchemists in China spent centuries trying to discover the user immortal. One important ingredient in many of their failed elixirs was saltpetre, also known as potassium nitrate. And because of the accident, because the alchemists added potassium nitrate, it made a reaction and it made gunpowder.
And we know it now as gunpowder.
Hi, I'm here to do an experiment with you. What we need is a tall glass of water with a third of water, take salt, oil and red food colouring. We start with a third cup of water. I'm using a ruler to find out what exactly the third is. This glass is 120 millimetres tall and the water is up to 40, which is a third. Now we make it red with the food colouring. This doesn't really have any effect, it's just so we can see where the water is. Now we add another third of oil. I like to check it as I'm going to see that I'm not overflowing or under. Look what's happened. The oil has risen to the top. The reason for this is because oil and water don't normally mix. The water is also denser, and that is why the oil has risen to the top. We now add the salt, and this is where the experiment really starts to take its act. The reason the salt sinks is because it's denser than oil and the water. With this, the salt also latches onto the oil and brings it down to the bottom. When the salt disintegrates, the oil will rise back to the top. Did you see the oil pop up then? That's because salt disintegrates in water, but oil doesn't. The oil will not disintegrate, and when the salt dies, the oil will rise back to the top. Hope you like my experiment. You can try this one at home.
John O'Sullivan is an Australian electrical engineer.
He created what is known today as Wi-Fi. Without it, these products would be rendered almost useless.
In 2009, he was awarded Prime Minister's Prize for Science.
His invention has given the CSIRO $430 million in royalties.
Thanks for watching.
A boomerang is a thrown tool, typically constructed as a flat aerofoil that is designed to spin at an axis. A returning boomerang is designed to be thrown in a closed, arched path which returns to the thrower.
The oldest Australian Aboriginal boomerangs are 10,000 years old. One boomerang that was discovered in the Carpathian Mountains in Poland was made from mammoth's trunk. No one knows for sure how the returning boomerang was first invented.
What are stem cells?
Stem cells are a class of indifferent cells that are able to differentiate into specialized cell types. Commonly, stem cells come from two main sources: embryos and adult tissue.
Who discovered stem cells? Alexander A. Maxwell discovered stem cells. His discovery was important because people that are born with deformities or have injuries can grow back body parts such as an ear, a nose, or other limbs and stuff.
Hippocrates of Kos, commonly known as the father of Western medicine, was a physician, and he also created ways to help people medically. He was born in Kos, ancient Greece, and he invented a lot of different medicines, but the most commonly known are aspirin and olive leaf extract. He also taught people how a lot of diseases were caused and how to protect yourself.
Let's begin. Here are our ingredients. We've got salt, a jar with a lid, and tissue, and ice cubes.
Okay. Step 1. Fill the jar with ice cubes and add 2 tablespoons of salt.
Now we fill the jar with ice cubes.
Next, we put 2 tablespoons of salt. So
We'll just estimate.
keep going. And then
Okay.
screw the lid on. Watch closely as the water droplets appear.
Wow, look how much water's on there now.
So much.
After a few minutes, the jar on the outside will get wet due to condensation.
Let's test it with this tissue.
Oh look, it's stuck to the side. Therefore, this experiment allows you to see the water that is usually invisible in the air. You can collect the water using the tissue. And this shows that this is gas to liquid.